All right, welcome back to the channel. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz might be getting pushed back to November, which puts the fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder in jeopardy. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers and non-subscribers. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Also, I want to thank everybody so much for the new members to the Patreon. Also, thank you to everybody that donates to the channel in the super chats and the live streams that we do Monday through Friday and Sunday with OG Boxing Talk. This Sunday, we had an incredible panel on the show. If you've not seen it, go check that out on archive. It was a really great conversation. We ran over time. I think you'll like it. But let's get into the subject of this video, which is Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz fight being pushed back, and how that more than that very well might signal some things, including the Tyson Fury fight not being when Tyson Fury announced that it would be, which is in February. So I saw an article this morning, excuse me, I got a itchy top of my nose. I saw an article this morning in TalkSport out of the UK, which reported that the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson versus Luis Ortiz rematch could be pushed back into the November timeframe, and that they still do not have a solid date and a venue for that fight. So if we assume that that's true, that would mean that unlike September, because it was originally thought to be taking place in September, right? So if you push that back 2 months, then you have it in mid-November, well, that's only 3 months before the Tyson Fury fight with Deontay Wilder was supposed to be held. So as we know, that 3 months between those two fights is not 3 months in between those two that's not enough time. So more than likely, if this rumor is true, that February time is not going to work. Obviously, if the Ortiz fight is in September, then you're more than likely not going to get the fight with Tyson Fury happening in February. That seems like it would get pushed back to March or April. Now, here's the thing that I find interesting about it, and I'm hoping is the case. I'm hoping that what they're trying to do is wait out and get the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, that rematch is supposed to be taking place. There's a bunch of debates going on between the teams in the media, right? From Andy Ruiz's side saying that fight has to either be in Mexico, LA, New York, or Vegas. And there being at least mumblings from Anthony Joshua's side that the fight could be taking place in the UK. And Andy Ruiz also came out over the weekend again and said that it's a no deal if Anthony Joshua expects Andy Ruiz to go over there to the UK and make that fight. But regardless, the winner of that fight, if Andy Ruiz is able to win that fight, and I don't care what the betting odds have, if that fight winds up being in the United States, I'm leaning towards Andy Ruiz. If it winds up being in a situation where Andy Ruiz wins, then Deontay Wilder is in good position to fight Andy Ruiz to unify all the belts. And that trumps a fight with Tyson Fury, easily trumps that fight. That's an understandable fight to happen. That's a fight that is really good for boxing. That is a mega, mega fight for Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz and the communities in the United States. That is probably that would be my estimation of that, would be that it would be the biggest heavyweight fight in the United States since Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. And it might be it's about as big as that fight right now, because you have two of this, definitely the two most active demographics in boxing, of boxing fans in the United States. You have African American or black people in America, American black people, and you have the Mexican fan base. The combination of those two, and as you know, as I always say, man, that's peanut butter and chocolate, man. That makes Reese's Pieces, and hey, that's going to sell. So that's what I'm hoping is behind it. Tyson Fury, I was a big fan of Tyson Fury coming out of his layover, or whatever you call it. When he got suspended, he got stripped, he sat out 2 years, he gained however amount of money that he gained. But once he ducked that Deontay Wilder rematch and ran over there to Top Rank and started doing all that talking as if it wasn't him that stopped the fight, the rematch to begin with, I would feel no sympathy whatsoever for Tyson Fury if he lost out on that fight. Of course, though, Deontay Wilder has to get past Luis Ortiz. I'm a little less worried about this second fight with Luis Ortiz than I am the first fight with Luis Ortiz. But at the same time, that's a big time risk for Deontay Wilder fighting Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz is a very good fighter, and I'm not going to underestimate this guy's potential to win a fight with Deontay Wilder in the rematch. He, believe it or not, although he did go down 2 times, Luis Ortiz got a heck of a chin, man, because I saw him take clean shots and stay standing from Deontay Wilder. Shots that have failed and knocked other guys completely unconscious. But again, I think that Deontay Wilder is improving as a fighter. I like what I saw against Dominic Breazeale, even though there wasn't a whole lot to be seen with Dominic Breazeale because the fight, ended in the first round. But the one thing that I liked the most was how big he was. Coming in at 223 pounds, allow him to absorb just a little bit more pressure, maybe, have him a little bit more strength in the legs, a little bit more, just a little bit more meat on those bones to deal with these really, really big heavyweights. If it comes in there the same way again against Luis Ortiz, man, I think it could possibly be a very short night with Luis Ortiz. It was almost a short night with Luis Ortiz the first time because I think it was around the 5th round that Deontay Wilder got his hands on that chin and dropped Luis Ortiz, but wasn't able to finish off because it was too close to the end of the round. But if Deontay Wilder is carrying all that weight, if he's carrying more weight, more than likely what that means is he was having good nutrition, having a good nutrition plan in training camp and before training camp, and just having more nutrition in your, having more of your essential vitamins and minerals and taking care of yourself might actually help with his endurance and his speed. So, I'm feeling better about the Luis Ortiz fight, the second one, than I did the first, but still, I say all that to say that I don't underestimate Luis Ortiz. But if I had to lay out a scenario that I would rather see, it would be Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. It's say in the November timeframe. If you have Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz in that November-December timeframe, because if you remember, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua over in 2017 and 2018, they fought, and this year as well, they fought close to one another. Deontay Wilder would fight, then Anthony Joshua would fight. Deontay Wilder would fight, and then Anthony Joshua would fight. If it did wind up being that this got pushed back to November, it could be Deontay Wilder in November, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz in December, and then let the winner of those guys fight one another for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. If Deontay Wilder and the winner of Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz would be the man, you'd have that big mega payday that everybody was looking for, and a big major payday that could be, or a major event. Let's say it that way from the boxing fans' point of view, because I don't think that as a boxing fan we really should care, or I don't really care too much how much money the fighters make. I talk about it, and it's good to banter back and forth about it. It adds to the boxing conversation, but it really doesn't mean anything to me as a fan, like tangibly. But something that does give a tangible benefit to fans in big fights like this is that fight fans who are at home that can't go to the venue really do get the big fight feel, because there are fight parties that take place. You can go to your house, one guy can buy the pay-per-view, you can have a bunch of people come over, you got drinks, you got foods, you barbecuing, you're doing all those type of things because you got this big fight coming up. And that when you get those type of big events, that's when I think that the pay-per-view and all that stuff really does add, the size of the fight adds value to the fighter. I don't think that you're going to get that out of Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. And, there's also something like, that sounds about right, that Tyson Fury doesn't get that shot, because Tyson Fury acted a jackass, and the media acted one about that first fight with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Josh and Tyson Fury. And when Tyson Fury pulled out of that fight, just leave him on the sideline figuring out how he's going to be this big, how he's going to be the big star. Let him continue to fight. Let him fight Oscar Rivas, Trevor Bryan and Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and see if Al Heyman will let him get in there with Jared Washington. Let him do that type of stuff, man. And sitting around and earn that number one heavyweight talk that these guys are talking about. And then the other thing about the Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz fight is that would, by Ring Magazine's own rules, make Deontay Wilder or Andy Ruiz the champion of Ring Magazine, which means, of course, because that's how Vladimir Klitschko became the lineal, that would make Deontay Wilder the lineal heavyweight the champion of the world. So I would really love to see that dynamic and that argument take place. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the matter. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much again for supporting the Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting in the live streams and the super chats. Shout out to everybody in the LDBC. And with that, I'm out. Peace.